All right, let's dive into something, well, kind of mind-bending. We're going to go to the microscopic level to uncover a secret language, a hidden message system that molecules use to talk to each other. It's called the molecular whisper, and it's seriously cool.
So get this. How can one molecule basically tell its neighbor to light up without actually sending any light over to it? It sounds impossible, right? I mean, that's like turning on a lamp from across the room without flipping a switch or throwing anything at it. But on the molecular scale, this kind of thing is happening all the time. So how in the world do they do it?
Well, the answer is this amazing invisible energy transfer. Don't think of it like shouting across a room. It's much, much cooler than that. It's more like a secret being whispered directly from one person's ear to another. It's a non-radiative, secret handshake that can only happen when everything is just right. Now, this molecular whisper has a pretty fancy scientific name, Forster Resonance Energy Transfer, or thankfully, FRET for short. And what it is a way to describe how two light-sensitive molecules, they're called chromophores, can pass energy between them. But here's the key. It only works over unbelievably short distances. To really get how this works, we need to meet the two key players in this little molecular dance. And just like any good partnership, they each have a super specific job to do. So first up, we've got the donor. This is the molecule that gets the whole party started. It soaks up energy from something like a beam of light. You can just think of it as the giver. Then, of course, you have the acceptor. Its job is pretty simple. It's the receiver. It's waiting to take that energy that the donor collected. Okay, but this energy handoff isn't just some random event. No, it's a very exclusive club. For FRET to actually happen, a couple of really strict rules have to be followed. Let's break down the two most important ones. First, and this is huge, proximity is everything. The donor and the acceptor have to be incredibly close to each other. We're talking between 1 and 10 nanometers apart. That is insanely small, like the thickness of a cell membrane. Any farther and that molecular whisper just gets lost in the noise. And second, they have to be speaking the same energy language. This is what's called spectral overlap, and this is where things get really, really interesting. So let's zoom in on that second rule, spectral overlap. Because honestly, this is where the real magic happens. In simple terms, the color of the energy the donor is whispering has to be a color the acceptor can actually hear. Let's look at a graph to see exactly what I mean. Okay, so take a look at this. That solid blue line shows the energy that the donor molecule gives off. That's its broadcast signal. The dashed green line shows the energy the acceptor is ready to absorb. That's its receiver. The transfer, that whisper, can only happen in that shaded green area where they overlap. That's the sweet spot, the frequency where their languages match up perfectly. And this isn't a one-off thing. It works with all different kinds of molecular pairs. Here's another example. We've got a new donor giving off green energy and a new acceptor tuned to pick up orange energy. And again, look right there. You see that overlap region? That's the communication channel. Without that overlap, you get no FRET. Doesn't matter how close they are. No overlap, no conversation. All right, so we've met the partners and we know the rules of the game. Now let's walk through the actual play-by-play of the transfer itself. Let's call it the energy handshake. It's really just a three-step process. Step 1, excitation. Some outside light source, like a laser, zaps the donor and gives it a big boost of energy. Then comes step 2, the transfer. Now, this is the key moment. The donor, instead of just shining, passes that energy directly to the acceptor without releasing a single photon of light. That's the non-radiative part. It's an invisible direct handoff. And finally, step 3, emission. The acceptor, now all charged up with his gifted energy, releases it as its own light, glowing with a totally new color. So what do we actually end up seeing? Well, on one hand, the donor's own light gets dimmer. We say it's quenched because it's giving its energy away. But on the other hand, the acceptor starts to light up and glow, even though it was never hit by that original light source. It is literally shining with borrowed energy. How cool is that? And get this, the conversation doesn't have to end with just two partners. You can actually build a chain where the first acceptor turns around and becomes a donor for a third molecule, and so on. It's called cascade FRET, and it creates this perfectly controlled molecular domino effect of whispered energy. So, all of this is obviously fascinating on a microscopic level, but why does it matter to us in the real world? Well, this extreme sensitivity that FRET has to distance, that gives it an unbelievably powerful application. Because the efficiency of this energy transfer depends so heavily on that tiny 1 to 10 nanometer gap, FRET basically becomes a molecular ruler. Think about that.
By measuring exactly how much energy gets transferred, scientists can calculate the precise distance between the donor and the acceptor. This lets them watch things like a protein misfolding in real time or see exactly how a virus gets ready to infect a cell. It's a total game changer for biology.
So in the end, by figuring out this secret language, Fret gives us this amazing window into a world of invisible conversations. It proves that there's this whole other layer of communication happening all around us and inside of us all the time. And that just leaves you with this one big fascinating question. If we can now see molecules talking, what other invisible conversations are constantly shaping our world, just waiting for us to figure out how to listen in?